Good morning, traders. Chris Bus here with Traders Profit Compass with your morning look at markets for Thursday, July 15th. Quick look at futures. Oil down 1%, copper up 1%, ES flat, NASDAQ up 0.4. Small caps down 0.75. Gold and silver up about 0.5%. Over on the macro front, we've got jobless claims, Empire State Manufacturing Index, Philly Fed, manufacturing. We've got industrial production. That'll be an important number. We've got nat gas inventories, and we've got Jay Powell Part 2 on the Senate side of Capitol Hill this morning at 9:30. Yesterday's hearing on the House side proved uneventful, stuck to script, no big gaffe or anything. I think it was more or less a non-event. You'll have to find other guys out there that are better Fed watchers than I. If there's some nuance in there, I didn't hear of any. I didn't hear any recaps that stated anything but the obvious, that pretty much stuck to script, data dependent, inflation's transitory, that whole thing. So I did find out there's quite a number of congressmen that are lumber traders, though. So, I mean, that came up a number of times. Everybody's a lumber trader now. So, anyways, let's run through this real quick. I say that every time. We always end up at 35 minutes, so let's see what we can do. U.S. dollar, down day, rejected off the trend line here. Look for either a break below 92 or a break above 92.8, and that would give us the door would be open for either a more significant down move or a more significant up move if this breakout happens. For those of you that are new to the channel, thank you for being here. We've been operating under these two different scenarios. Scenario one has been the one that's been playing out, but I would like to put some nuance to that, because in recent weeks, the bubble stocks, high valuation, high sales to price ratio, no earnings, that kind of thing. The EV space and solar has been getting killed. So the market has narrowed a lot. Really, the FATMAAN names, the Facebooks, Alphabets, Teslas, Microsofts, Google, Netflix, those have been the ones that have been holding the broad market indexes together with bubblegum and baling wire, if you will, because if you look under the surface, there's been a lot of destruction. Some big down moves yesterday, plus the as I mentioned in the title, all the meme stocks are getting crushed. And I think it's ringing out some of the speculation in the market. The thought of a tapering move is going to turn the screws on real high valuation stuff. And you know what? The mega cap tech is defensive. I mean, it's both. It's stable, reliable growth no matter what's going on, whether there's a recession or the economy's booming. The FATMAAN names are going to perform. And thank God we're either smart enough or good enough. We've been in those and they've been working. So a lot of times you don't need to scour 3,000 stocks for things to trade. You just need to find ones, sectors and stocks that are working and stick with them until they don't. So this scenario one, as long as yields stay contained, I think FATMAAN keeps working into earnings over the next couple weeks. But then if we see yields rise again, that should be bullish financials and the reopening trades and all that stuff as we've discussed. Rates backed off yesterday. Remember, we talked about that I thought that was fake. I thought they would fade that. That's what they did. Check mark for Chris. Got long TLT. Bounced off the 200 and trendline support. Got a nice move up here, 1.14%. It's up again this morning, about 75 cents. So we spiked up, we came down, and now we're bouncing back. So that trade has worked. Big correction in oil yesterday as reports are coming out of the OPEC nations that they're going to give the United Arab Emirates some more oil to pump. Plus, the gasoline inventories had a surprise build yesterday, and that also contributed to the down move. Even if you're not trading oil, oil's highly correlated to the SPY, so you don't want to see oil make some big down move here, or that's going to be a real drag on SPY. Speaks to growth, speaks to the economy. You want to see oil hold its bid, stay in this area. I think it's going higher, but there's always corrections along the way. So I think this 49.25 on USO on the hourly remains a good pivot level. We dipped below the other day, bounced back up, and now we're back revisiting it again. So let's go through SPY. Daily chart, no changes. Stay long above the trend line. Stay long above the 8 and 20 moving averages. Everything still looks good. We've got divergences in place. And remember, we talked about it, but I don't have a chart here this morning. Breadth is falling apart under the surface. And like I said, the FATMAAN names, which are 25% of these big indexes, are holding the thing together. You look under the surface, and I went through and looked at a lot of charts yesterday. A lot of carnage, a lot of 5% down days yesterday. I mean, even more, 10% down in some of these high valuation names. So even stuff like airlines and banks, they're all falling apart. So this thing is, if there's something to worry about, I think it's breadth, and can these other stocks step up into the void as large cap tech gets into earnings. So we're close to the line, but nothing's been violated yet, so I see no reason to sell. And I would just be taking a look at your positions and making sure that your dollars at risk are at a comfortable level. And like I say, what I always like to do is, if you've been participating in all this, keep rolling up your stops, make sure you got a lot of that money in the bank. And then when that red day comes, and it's coming, I don't know when it'll be, but there'll be a 2% down day, and that will certainly sting if you're long, but not nearly as much as if you've got a lot of embedded gains and high delta options. You want to get those rolled up, get those taken to the bank, and stay at even money. That way, when that day comes, you'll be in relatively good shape. 2 hour, we opened strong, but then gave it back. We ended up positive 65 cents, big deal. Today, I think you key off of 435. That's the more or less the top of the 2 hour channel. You get below 435, sit up a little taller. You don't want to get down into this 2 hour channel and pull back into 433 and then fill the gap and then come down to the midpoint. That's $4 or $5 lower. So that would be a place to get concerned if you're a short-term active trader. So I'd key off 435 as a pivot. And then here it is on the 30-minute chart. Drew a little trend line across the tops. And if you're active, and remember what we said yesterday, that if you got a pop above and then that level failed, that was your tactical short. Now, it didn't turn out to be all that much, but you can see that that's a very important line right here at on this particular time frame, 436.5. You've got this large volume over price bar here. So below that, opens up the door to retest this low and to come into 434.50. And then, of course, level by level, the doors open downward here. So what we want to see this morning is this downtrend line popped and then try to make a push towards the highs. Qs, daily chart, same thing. No violations that I can see. Above the 8-day, above trend. PPO has not put in a bull cross. RSI has not violated trend. If you see that, sit up taller in the chair, pay attention, and be ready to pull the ripcord if you start seeing these trend lines break and PPO roll over and RSI drop down below. That'll be a time to become tactically defensive. 2-hour chart, just consolidation really. We had a strong open. We almost, broke out to new highs. Could not take out this big breakdown candle. And just technically, when you have a big red candle, I mean, look at it. Biggest one in a long time. It's always important to take that out, break above, and hold it. And you can see here we came up twice right to that level and could not break above. So that's an important level on a breakout. And if you got that, then what you can do is, of course, like I always say, ratchet up, and then you can shoot against that 365.25. I think that's the number. And then you can, look for higher ground, but against a higher level. Right now, you've got to shoot against this 362 at the bottom of this flag and against these prior highs. 30-minute chart, same thing. Just here's a consolidation area. What you want to see is a break back into the 30-minute channel that will or should make you breathe a little easier. Anytime you can, venture outside and then break back above, that's always a bullish thing. And like I say, if you can break above this 365.25, then that would be a big plus. So here's the big problem. And this speaks to breadth as well. You got IWM, it's got 2,000 components. It is just getting taken to the woodshed. And if you're familiar with my work, you know that I'm not afraid to short a stock and to see, what an objective level up here. Looking back, you can always figure it out, right? What an objective level, trying to break out here, fail, break out here, fail, and come up one last time and get a pretty good rejection off of that. That would have been such a beautiful, objective, high opportunity, low risk entry point, and then it's just been down ever since. Now we're well below the 50, and it looks like we're going to be heading down towards this 212.50 area. I said pre-market we're down another 0.75%, so we're going to, at least if that holds into the open, we're going to take out this low, and then there's really nothing else stopping it. And yesterday, oh boy, another fantastic shorting opportunity. If your mind was flexible and you were watching it, had a reach up here to 224, and then it reversed, and then you broke this 222 level, which we called out yesterday as a level that would be a violation and a place to get short. And so, if you were Johnny on the spot and you saw this reach up into here fail, you could have gotten short against 224, if not even 222, and then you got a move down to 219. So that's $3. And the nice thing about that trade, no bounces, nothing to scare you out. Once you were in that trade, you knew you were right. There wasn't any, scary candles to make you think you weren't right. So that was an easy, easy trade. And so now today, we've got this prior low at 218. I think at a minimum, we're going to come down and tag that. And then on a violation of 218, then you've got a level here at 214.75. And then you've got a level down here at this 212.50. And that would be the bottom of the bigger range. So, yeah, I mean, as long as this breadth falls apart and as long as, yields are falling again, that's bearish, the cyclicals and reopening. So just on a fundamental backdrop, not bullish. And from a technical standpoint, series of lower highs and series of lower lows. This will be a lower low today, I'm sure. If we're, down 0.75%, we're gonna go below this and put in a lower low, and then we'll see, how far it might proceed. And as always, be open to a bounce. If you come down here and tag this low and it holds, you can get long against it. Just remember, when you're doing that, you're in a counter trend trade. If you're long in a downtrend, you're playing for a bounce, and you may get that bounce, and you may make nice money on that bounce. Just remember, you're in a downtrend, so those usually persist until they don't. So be ready to rotate out of that and then get back short again. And here it is on the 30-minute chart. No big deal, just detailing what we already said. Here's that prior low at 218. If you break that, you got to get short and then look for 215 and then 212. Fat Man. Disappointing day for Facebook. What can I say? We had a nice big opening bar here. All excited, getting ready for the breakout above 356, and then it all went south. It did come in here to this support area that we had noted at the bottom of the range here at 348. That's got to hold today, or else 344 comes back into view. So I had told you I was long Facebook, and I gave up the ghost on it, so I'm out of that. Looking to regroup once I see, this hold and start moving up, or comes down towards 344 where it should hold and then get a bounce. So, but this 348 is your pivot this morning. Apple, great day. Got lucky. There's a report out of Bloomberg that Apple has asked all its suppliers to bump up production 20%. Whether that's real or not doesn't really matter. The market took it as a positive. Gap up 2.41%, closed right on the highs. We are up this morning. I saw about 60, 75 cents. What I did in my options, I told you I was long. I rolled up. I had 146s and 140. It was either 147s or 148s. Either way, those did really well. And so I took that money to the bank, and now I'm in July 23rd, 150s, and see if we can just continue to get a push into earnings on 7/28. And then a nice area to look for a stop is right at yesterday's lows. Right here about 148 would be a good area to, if it pulls back there and loses this channel, then you got to anticipate further downside. But seems very strong. It seems like there's a bid under it. when you watch the 5-minute charts, I mean, yesterday, literally, the most you got was 2 red bars in a row. And after those 2 red bars, here come the buyers. So very strong price action. And obviously, I'm hoping for that to continue. Not such a nice day for Tesla. We talked about this 670 had to hold, which was support from this consolidation area. It gave up the ghost. And then we said that 555 was your next level of support. It came down there and held that. So that's your pivot for today. If it loses it, then 640 and then 625. Hopefully it won't, go back that far. Hopefully it'll catch a bid here, and then you've got the door open for 670 and 690 again. If you look at this, this move to this move, and then a half back, give 50% back of the move, brings you right back to here. So from a Fibonacci perspective, happens all the time. Impulsive move, give half back, and then what you want to see is a reacceleration higher. So earnings are next Tuesday. I think that's Tuesday, the 20th, after the market. So if you're in that, you're playing it, be aware of earnings. Don't get surprised, and hold those into earnings. Microsoft, another nice day, up 0.5%. It was up more, but consolidating right here. I saw it was up some this morning. So look for higher ground. You got a support ledge at 282. And what I noticed yesterday on lower time frames is every time it got to 282, there were buyers on the 5-minute chart. And so I've taken a new position in Microsoft. I am in July 23rd, 285s. July 23rd, 285s. I'm looking for this to make a move up to the midpoint of the channel. I would be getting out of this trade if we dropped below the this 1 hour channel here, and that would be around 282. So you're going to have lateral support from this volume over price bar, and you're going to have channel support here. If you're not in it and you see, price come into 282 in the bottom of the channel, it's as objective as you're going to get for trying along with a stop just below. And I think the market has shown, even during Powell testimony and interest rate turbulence and all that kind of stuff, a bid is still in these stocks. So I still like it. Amazon showed signs of life yesterday. We talked about this big bull flag. As long as it holds 3670, 3675, I think you're fine. I think the door remains open for a move back up to 3750, and then hopefully get a breakout. What you would really want to see, and this is kind of a classic pattern, is a big momentum surge on this move, and then a long, slow momentum reset. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if this flattens out at 0 and starts to curl back up. And that would be a really, really good sign for bulls. Once this thing flattens out and starts to curl up, that means the momentum is turning positive again. And ready for the next leg higher. So depending on how you want to trade it, you can wait for that bull cross at the 0 line, or you can try to get a better entry down here at the bottom of the flag and just keep a real tight stop on it. Different strokes for different folks. It's not one or the other. It's just whatever you like and can tolerate, and how you want to trade it. But as long as this stays above 0 and price stays above 3670, I think the bulls are in the driver's seat, so I like that. Netflix. We did it. We did it. Give yourself a round of applause if you got this trade, because honestly, we had it the whole way. We had this break from a $30 consolidation base. We said stay long against 515. It never came back to challenge. It never scared you out. Been on a steady climb, and we filled the gap yesterday to 550, just like we planned. Doesn't always work that way, so you got to congratulate yourself when it does work. But nice $35 move. If you were in that, if you bought some time and you didn't get frustrated in here like I did, then that's great. You should be pretty happy with that trade. So now we got to look at the daily chart and look at the next thing. And you know the interesting thing? I haven't seen anything in the media about it. I haven't seen, oh my God, did you see Netflix today? None of that stuff. So that's great. It's off the radar screen. And, if you're still in it, and there's really no reason to get out of it now, if you start getting some pumps, on TV and FOMO comes in, could get an extra lift. And I guess part of yesterday was they announced that they're going to start introducing video games onto their platform. And if that's successful, that could be huge. It could be a revenue stream. It would certainly be something to lock in kids that just sit there for hours and hours upon hours playing the games. So I don't know exactly what the business model is, but it's something new and interesting rather than just watching video content. But let's look at this technically. Big $90 range for over a year. And now we're back up threatening the top of the range at 560. So here was a fake breakout, came back and then failed. A couple tries along the way, failed. So 560 is your number. And you break out and hold 560, that projects to 650, right? 90 onto 560 is 650. So that's going to be our technical target. And just like the semiconductor trade or Amazon or any of these range-bound trades, add that consolidation range onto the top. Now, if you had been in this, what I want you to do is certainly make sure you get paid for that move. You took the risk. You got to take some money to the bank. If you're not in it, you're this close. I think you just wait for the breakout and be ready for it. I don't think it makes sense right here to try and play for this $10. I don't think that's really worth it if you haven't been in it yet. I think it's going to get there, but to me, playing for $10 on a $500 stock or $550 stock is not really worth it. And it may take earnings to pop this out. But anyways, once it gets above, if it does, and it holds 560, that's a trade you want to be in, because you got a $90 opportunity and you'll have a very, very tight stop here available. So keep Netflix on your radar. Google, what can I say? It just keeps going higher. It popped up and then consolidated the rest of the day. I've dropped in a little trend line here. I'm not sure how important that really is. What you got to see, or what you want to see, is this 2560 hold and then drive up to the next level. I think Google is really feeling it. Here's the daily chart. As we keep showing, just keeps driving within the channel. So stay long, up above the 8-day. All the moving averages are bullishly stacked. Stick with the trade. at least into earnings. Semiconductors, bad day. This is one of the ones I was really disappointed in yesterday. Uh, People were congratulating me here on the semiconductor trade, and then 15 minutes later it lets go and never recovered. So I'm still long, but I had to take some of it off just because of short-term calls and stuff. But today I think your pivot is 259.50, and I think it was up just a little bit pre-market. So yeah, I don't know what the problem is, but it's kind of lost its juice here the last couple days. I thought this was the real one right here. I thought that was the breakout, and but remember, show it again. As long as we're above 258 on this big range, I think you stay long. I think you're looking for long entries, and it's been frustrating right above because we haven't been able to accelerate, but still, it's holding to breakout above all the moving averages. Hard to get too bearish. So pick your spot, have your stop in place if this thing doesn't materialize, and then let's see where it goes. AMD, frustrating. Thought we had it here, let go. Now it's consolidating. I will tell you that in the pre-market, it's up $1.50. I re-entered the trade yesterday, so God willing, I'll get paid because I haven't gotten paid very much. Over here I did, but not here. So it's been a frustrating trade. This pivot point here at 91.25 has, you can tell it's capped all the gains. And so now in the pre-market, we're trading above that. So maybe that'll be the impulsive move to get this thing going higher. So we'll just have to wait and see. What I did, I went through some groups. I just want to show you some stuff. This is the airline group. It's rolled over. Now it's below the 200. I mean, bearish. Whenever you lose the 200, it's bearish. So yes, you can look at individual charts and find out, where support is. There may be potential shorts in the airline group. I know Hawaiian looks terrible. I think Delta reported yesterday and traded down. So airlines are not doing well, and that's one of those cyclical trades that you would expect to do better on rising rates, and we haven't seen that at all. This is the non-ferrous group. This is copper and what else is in there? Copper, aluminum, bunch of industrial metals and miners kind of thing. It's broken trend and is now correcting below the 8, 20, and 50-day moving averages. The 200 not far away. So again, not a place, from a group perspective that you want to go out too far on a limb. Birds of a feather flock together. So if the group is going down, chances are most of the stocks in that group are going down. So it's hard to pick, pick the one that's going to be a winner. So that's your Freeport McMorans, your Alcoas, those type of names. They're just not feeling it right now. Railroads, hanging on, but bearish. Why? It lost the trend line, and now it's below the moving averages again. Not as dramatic a pullback, but now you got to watch it here because it's below this major support level. So watch the railroads. Banking. Here's the big bank index versus SPY. So rising means banks are outperforming until they're not. So do you really want to get involved in banks here? I don't. I mean, the group is in a steep corrective mode against SPY. So you got to wait for something positive. You got to wait for this thing to bottom and start curling back up. So do not like big banks. And then here's small banks, regional banking index, same thing. Big, nice bull trend, corrective action. So I think I pointed out a level the other day on KRE. I would take a look at that. All the regional banks have yet to report. So if you wanted to take a bearish view on regional banks, instead of trying to pick, which one's going to go down, I would just play it with KRE and say, you know what, I'm gonna take a short position in KRE all throughout regional bank earnings season and see what happens. But you can tell from this ratio chart, you don't want to be long. You don't want to be long, and this is a good learning opportunity for you guys. If you've got a specific group, say you're interested in semiconductors or software or industrials or apparel, you just get the group, and every group has a index to it. And if you can't find the index, you can find an ETF that accurately reflects the group. Just plot that against SPY, and that way you'll know if that group is outperforming or not. If it's rising, then it's bullish. If it's falling, then it's bearish. So that's a good way to get a read on a specific sector. And then let's wrap up with solar ETF TAN, down 5% yesterday, and that doesn't even capture it. I mean, if you look in the solar index yesterday, there were names off 10, 12%, 8%, 7% in that group. So we had an initial leg down, we had a reflex bounce, and now it looks like it's rolling over again. So I'm going to be going through those charts and see if there's some compelling shorts in there that we can possibly grab at objective levels. And I'll leave you with one last thing. MJ, marijuana. I just remembered it. Alarm 18 on MJ. It's coming down into support at 18. You see a break at 18. If you look at the chart, there's nobody home below 18. So that would be a real high risk reward type of trade to short the MJ ETF on a break below 18. So that's a little trade idea for you there at the end of the thing. So as always, new visitors, I'm really glad you're here. I hope you got some benefit out of the analysis. I really believe if you trust my levels and hone your execution around those levels, you're going to become a better trader and you're going to make more money. So hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell. You'll get all my content. And then jump over to the show notes where you can register for my content, all my content, with your email address. That way you'll get everything I send out. The other day, I sent out that TLT trade. Not a massive win, but it's a win. And you would have been able to get in on that, in the middle of the day rather than, hear about it after the fact. And it worked. So that's the idea. So we'd be glad to have you. And thank you so much for you guys that are putting really nice comments in the videos. It really helps. And special call out to Jeffrey, who participates in the trading room. But he's always encouraging you guys to hit the like button. It helps me in YouTube algorithm to boost my rankings. And he is also posting my content in other social media circles. And slowly but surely, we're building the channel. And if you would do the same, I'd really, really appreciate it. So let's see how it goes today. See if Powell, I don't anticipate him doing anything different today than he did yesterday, but you never know. So stay on your toes starting at 9:30.
with his testimony, and we'll see how it goes. Hope you have a good day of trading. This has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass. Talk to you next